our nonprofit and what we're going to do with the grant money.
Awesome. Well, I'm Kira, so I am a co-founder and COO, and this is my wonderful husband, Carlos.
Hi. I'm the CEO of Reach for the Stars nonprofit.
And he is the inspiration. I'll tell a story about how it started because I like to say it from my perspective, but we're both military, we're come from trauma, and we actually met in rehab, but when we got out, we were completely transformed. We had this whole new perspective on life, but we were missing through the 3 Ps, the people, passion, and purpose. And I started volunteering, and Carlos was kind of still trying to figure out, like what he wanted to do as far as, like, what do I want to do when I grow up? No, I'm just kidding. But one day he just went out and bought a Walmart telescope, and he brought it home, and I watched it just completely transform his life. He went from being, kind of just not necessarily sad, but just kind of isolating, not really wanting to go out in public or talk. We both had PTSD before from the military, and so he just was excited. He wanted to share it. He wanted to show people like there was stuff out there in space, and like it was just really astonishing. And so he got a bigger telescope, and we took it to the Safeway parking lot, and we started to share it with kids that were walking by, and they loved it. They had never seen Saturn before or its rings. And then we looked up to see if there was a club, and I was like, yeah, you should, start a club. So he started a club, and then COVID hit. And we started to feed families because we still wanted to do something. And so we started to feed families, and then every time a family would drive up, there were kids in the back seat. And so we were like, well, let's give them a telescope with the food so they can do something during this pandemic. So we'd give them a telescope, and they would take it home, and then they would want to know how to use it. So Carlos would always teach them how to use it. And they loved it. They came back, they wanted to get more involved in the astronomy portion of it. And when we looked back at all of it during this whole time, we were like, our struggles started from when we were younger. These kids are obviously struggling, and then not only that, all of our volunteers that were coming in that were youth were struggling. And so let's help kids, because this is where it's at. So we started, Reach for the Stars was already being born, but we wanted to transform it into something that had never been born before. So we are the only nonprofit that is using astronomy and stargazing and STEM to help kids with their mental health, because it's proven to transform them to a whole nother place, which is out of this world. And so that's what we're doing. So as far as what the money is going to help us do is really we want to start a classroom, because we want to show the progress of the kids, and what, when they come in and then when they leave, kind of like how it's improving them. Because right now we go all over town and we help them, but we have had kids that have been in our program since day one, and we know that it's helped them, but we haven't actually measured that with an intake form and all that. So now we're really wanting to do that. So we want to start a classroom. We want to do stuff that is more consistent, and that is kind of where we're headed. So we've grown a lot in the last 2.5 years. And do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, the $40 telescope came to me during a really dark time of my life. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had a really bad injury from the military. I was lost, and I had no motivation. That experience of looking through the eyepiece and being transferred through time and space was so unique, refreshing. It gave me a huge perspective of life, and it got me so excited for the future. Imagine that worked for me as an adult who is already set in most of his ways, has his values. Imagine what that could do for a child who has vulnerabilities and problems at home, or is being getting them or allowing them to escape with the telescope is extremely important and is proven, but we're just the first ones to implement it. So we donate telescopes to kids, each one $75, so some of the money goes to that. But we're also, our main goal is to find a building, a facility, to create a community observatory for free access to space for anyone. So we can host our programs and our outreach and charity work and things like that. So this mission is very impactful and it's very strong and it's hitting the ground running. You guys are just helping us out get to our goals, and we're so grateful for you guys.